Shelley Luther accepted the invitation to come on the show. She joins us via Skype now. Shelley, good to see you. Thanks so much for giving us some of your time today.
Thanks for having me back, Dana.
Of course. First off, I have to ask you about this mailer because America first got to know you because you were the first business owner that said, I'm not doing this anymore. I can't survive and stay closed like this. And then we learned later the CDC is telling everybody, no, don't do these lockdowns that you spent 2 days in jail doing. You basically got in trouble for doing what Judge Clay Jenkins is able to go out and do without impunity. But this mailer comes out and it's listing all these things that you did as somehow this is some kind of negative. It says Shelley Luther, and they make you out like you're Darth Vader or something. Defied lockdown orders despite receiving a cease and desist. Shelley Luther ignores science and endangers others. Hosts massive rallies, which I just thought were mostly peaceful protests. And then they try to knock you for supporting a consumption tax on basic needs, which I assume is, because you think like me, the IRS and everything that they're doing, that taxation is theft, but that's another issue. I have to ask you about this mailer first. A lot of people look at you like the new American folk hero, but yet that's a negative in this race to your opponent, who's a Republican.
He says that he is, but he's pandering to the liberal voters, but it doesn't matter. He changes what he says every 10 minutes. He changes like the wind. So you never know what you're going to get out of him. Today he posted, Governor Abbott, please open us back up. People need to work. But he sent out that mailer saying that what I did was wrong. So
yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, because I looked at this when you reopened, and I want everyone to know, when Shelley Luther reopened her salon, and Shelley, you can remind everybody of this. I mean, you followed all of the protocol. You did the social distancing. You did the masks. You did everything that they said to do. And it really felt at the time like it was a political witch hunt against you. You had this judge who's very hostile towards Governor Greg Abbott and all Republicans, all conservatives, and especially if they're women salon owners particularly. And you actually were following the guidelines that were set out by the scientific community. Talk to me about this, because I don't know how you can be accused of not following science when you embraced it in your reopening.
Well, what's crazy is, too, one of the first things that people started going to buy was barbicide, and that is like kills every kind of germ possible. And we use that on the regular every single day. Cosmetologists are trained in sanitation and hygiene. And we, in our salon especially, practice that daily. We added masks. We had people waiting outside instead of inside. I got rid of all the magazines and the drink station that anybody would touch. I put hand sanitizer stations up. Of course, some of our stylists even wore masks and gloves, and my stations were already 6 feet apart. But at the time that I opened, I only had 3 stylists that were even willing to come back because they were afraid of getting their license pulled.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that was the other thing. The whole licensing, that gaming of that system and threatening different stylists with the revocation of their licenses. And this obviously is what inspired you to run in this race. And I know a lot of people are glad you did. Tell me about your thought process leading up to this, because you had enough. A lot of people have.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't about me. Even in the beginning, when I opened, it was for my stylist. I felt responsible for them, and I felt like I was keeping them from being able to work, and I didn't want to be that. And so I opened. And we continued to help people that were struggling, because even after salons were open, restaurants stayed closed a long time, and bars who barely got to open just got shut down again. And so whenever we would go somewhere, we were traveling, helping people, we would leave $1,000 tip. Or we gave $18,000 to a Black-owned barbershop in South Dallas. And we wanted to make sure that the blessing that I was given when I was put in jail, we received a lot of GoFundMe money, that we were able to share that blessing with other people. And in doing so, I received 600, or at least, handwritten letters from people all across the United States, and some even outside of the United States, begging me actually to run be a part of politics, do something, because your voice is what we need right now. And that when Senate District 30 opened, and I live in Pilot Point, Texas, it's exactly the district where I live. I felt like it was some sort of sign that this is exactly what I'm supposed to be doing.
Yeah, and I know a lot of people were glad to see that you chose to make that decision to run. We're speaking with Shelley Luther, the salon owner turned folk hero turned candidate for Texas's Senate District 30. Tell me about the effect that this has had you as a business owner. The statistic that I shared, where 60% of businesses that close their doors as a result of this lockdown have not reopened and will not reopen, that is terrifying because those people drive our economy. Talk to me about your experience as one of those small business owners barely pushing through this. What has that been like for you?
It's been horrible. And not only that, my stylists lost a lot of their clients because the CDC has everybody in the government so scared of leaving their house that people won't go get their haircut. And it's not that quote unquote haircuts are really essential. It is essential for everyone to make money and have money to feed their families. And that's what people don't get. And when one business is closed down, it affects all the other businesses. People don't go out and eat anymore because there's no shopping, there's no movies, and it's just kind of a snowball effect across Texas. And Governor Abbott just shut us down again.
Yeah, we have the reduction, and I saw the order that came out, the reduced restaurant capacity. And as I said, we've been talking earlier in the show prior to you joining us about the positive cases and how, like, for instance, in Florida, Governor Ron DeSantis, who's done such a fantastic job, is saying we got to provide these CT numbers, these cycle threshold numbers that actually determine whether or not a case is positive. We don't have that context. Texas isn't providing that context. That's incredibly important, particularly when, as you just mentioned, we have governors like Governor Abbott and many others across the country that are giving these orders to shut things down again, or demanding that people wear masks under threat of penalties. Some of the penalties that I saw suggested, Shelley, $1,000, $2,000 in some instances. How are people expected to live like this for much longer?
Well, you close down their business and then you're going to fine them. That makes a lot of sense. What are they going to pay you with? Blood? I don't know, but it's just ridiculous. And what's even more ridiculous are all of these people that are creating these laws unlawfully are still receiving their paycheck.
Yeah.
And so they're trying to, and Governor Abbott is seen all over the Metroplex without a mask on.
Yeah.
So I just don't understand.
Yeah, I just take the line that I'm not going to follow any law that a lawmaker puts out that they don't follow. I'm not going to follow it.
Right.
This is the time for civil disobedience. I want you to talk to me. We're talking with Shelley Luther, the salon owner / folk hero / SD30 candidate. Tell me specifically what you're hearing from people in your district and in SD30, and what you're wanting to do to help people having the very unique perspective of having gone through this as a business owner. You get it. Tell me what you're bringing to these voters in SD30 and what you want them to know.
Well, I think the most important thing is I'm not a politician. I'm someone that's deeply connected with these people. I've gone through and I felt and I still feel the sting of what's happening. I do not have any ties to Austin. I don't even know most of the politicians at all. I'm not there to make friends. I'm there to, get the Republican platform and actually get some of these bills in to vote, because last session was a disaster and nothing got done. And, there are still things that have been on that Republican platform for years that our legislators just seem to think it's okay to ignore.
Yeah.
So I want to go in there. I want to create some transparency. I want to let the people know, if what is going on in Austin is the same thing that these politicians are telling them, because I don't think that it is. And they do not, the majority of the politicians there, and when I say politicians, I mean the establishment swamp, they do not want me there, because I'm not I'm not a bobblehead. I'm not just going to agree to every single thing Governor Abbott says or anyone there. If it goes against the Constitution of the United States or the Texas Constitution, my vote is no. And the only reason the government is there is to protect our life, liberty, and property. If it doesn't involve that, stay out.
There you go. We're talking with Shelley Luther. Shelley, last question for you. What words do you have for those people who are trying to shame business owners or shame people who are trying to just pay their bills because they still have taxes. Crazily enough, you mentioned politicians are still getting their paycheck. Well, taxes are they're still going to call for taxes. You still got to pay your taxes off. What do you say to those people who are just trying to make ends meet? They're trying to keep their businesses afloat. They're trying to keep a roof over their heads, food on their table, and they're being shamed for wanting to do so or for even trying to adopt just a tiny bit of normalcy for their lives and that of their kids.
I would say the biggest thing is that you need to do what is best for you and your family, no matter what the government says. And in these times, in the Bible, God says we must stand up to tyranny. There has been talk of saying, well, you broke laws and you went against what God would want you to do. And that is not true. God does not want us to stand by and let our government do this to us. And if it comes to following some sort of executive order or feeding your family, absolutely, you know exactly what to do, which is what I did. And I encourage you to do that. And if I'm ever senator, which I hope to be, this will never happen again. I will never let Texas shut down like this ever again because it's unconstitutional and it hurts too many people.
There you go. Shelley Luther, the candidate in SD30, Texas's runoff race for Senate. Shelley, God bless you. It's good to talk with you, and we're glad that you're doing this, and we hope more people follow this lead and stand up too. Good to see you, and thanks so much. We'll follow the race.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You too. Take care.